Issue 146. We start out with Sonic at a New Year's Eve party in Emerald Hill, and for no reason, Sonic has a feeling that the happy feelings aren't gonna last because he's psychic, apparently. We then see the soldiers of the Colonel planning an invasion of Mobius from Earth. And somehow it's New Year's Eve on their planet too. That's one heck of a coincidence. I like that it's specified that Earth is half a universe away from Mobius. And it's very novel to see the people of Earth being the alien invaders for a change. The soldiers warp to the party, blasting lasers from their 1998 ray guns. Johnny hits with his staff, and Sharpfuse's armor is immune to the soldiers' lasers, while he's charmingly bragging, "Yeah, good, isn't it?" Sonic spin dashes at the chest of a soldier as Tails is dodging lasers in the air. Johnny hits a soldier while being just as racist as he is, as he calls him Furless Face, especially weird since we've clearly seen humans on Mobius, or at least beings that look like humans. Johnny gets hit by a laser, and the Colonel explains that he wants to make money off Mobius by selling the land to industrial developers, and he reasons that the Mobians have to go as a result. I thought his whole motivation was that he didn't want the Mobians to invade Earth. Sharpfuse gets hit by a laser, and this time he's somehow hurt by it, or at least falls to the ground, but won't have any injuries. Yeah, that's the thing. Wouldn't it suck if he got an injury to his body while trapped in that armor, and he couldn't go to the hospital for it? Good thing the armor is invincible. Sonic spin dashes at the tank, but the explosion throws him into Earth after the tank's debris blocks the human's portal. Why didn't they close the portal so this couldn't happen? Well, never mind. They'd like it if Sonic was trapped away from them. Sonic gets threatened by some soldiers and spin dashes at them, wanting to find an exit to the underground base instead of panicking because his only portal to Mobius was blocked. Why would it matter if he exits? He's still trapped on Earth. He sees that the Fleetway Earth is an overcrowded and polluted, noisy city because they want to shove the nature versus industrialism theme down your throat. Which makes Sonic dismiss it as a world gone mad, because I guess in all of his traveling across Mobius, he's never been to a city before. Metropolis? Hello? And Fleetway America is more of a third world country, I guess. Well, I guess this would be Fleetway Britain, since it's a British comic. But it doesn't make that very clear. The story ends with them seeing balloons get sent up for a New Year's celebration there. In the next story, Amy and Techno get warped to a dusty planet with some giant floating clocks. Right away, one of the people of the planet knows that only they can save the universe from destruction. Is he psychic or friends with a psychic? How would he know them? Good, Techno asks him this in the next panel. These people are the spirits of the years past. In each made-up time period, a new spirit enters the time stream to guide the new year on its intended course. So, I guess they're all evil since horrible things happen every year and they're intentionally guiding them to happen. They're kind of like the Fates, so I guess that's why this guy knows Amy and Techno, because they would know everybody. But you'd think that there's so many people, there are billions of people. How would they remember and recognize, like, two specific people? Although they are the heroes of their world, so I guess they would be pretty famous among them. Never mind. One of them panics, telling them to run because the Time Waster's on the loose. A giant fire creature shows up to threaten them, and it turns out he was created from damage to the timeline. From what? Why? This will never be explained, will it? 1999 is due to enter the time stream, but 1930, or maybe 1950, has gone crazy and wants to go instead, to put the clock back to what he calls the good old days. History will fold in on itself and it'll be the end of time. I guess that's why he's being called crazy, since every one of his people should know about that consequence by heart and warn him. Amy asks why they need her help when there's millions of them, and 1099 says that if any of them come into contact with the Time Waster, their year will be wiped from history, which would probably cause the end of time as well. For some reason, Amy's surprised at the revelation that her arrow isn't hurting a fire monster, so she tells Techno to keep it occupied. But then Amy runs over to 1930, who's somehow here in the exact same period in time, but also being that giant fire monster, and she didn't time travel or anything. She tells 1930 that all the advances in medical technology make the present better, and this alone is enough to convince someone dead set on his goal to not cause a problem as the Time Waster disappears. Huh? So he was a reasonable person? But he also went crazy? In the next story, we start out with a happy situation as Supersonic is cheerfully carrying some of the groceries of Ebony in pajamas. Because the situation is happy and Fleetway stories are short, I'm assuming something terrible will happen really quickly because of fast-paced plots. Pajamas tells Ebony off in a whisper for referring to Superboy's actual name in public. Somehow I'm expected to believe that the general public doesn't know what Supersonic looks like, only his name, when it should be self-explanatory the moment they see a golden Sonic with Dr. Insano eyes. He's not even wearing a disguise. You'd think if anyone would wear the Bob Beaky outfit, it would be him now. And besides, he's in Metropolis. You're telling me Sonic never stumbled into him after years? I love this concept of him having a normal life with them, but where's the logic in it? Why'd he even turn good at all? Super says that while he has had a few funny looks, people don't get suspicious because he's not crackling with energy like he used to. So I guess they think he's just dressing up, cosplaying as Supersonic. Why don't they question him about why he's doing that? Also, I just now noticed that Supersonic has fangs, just like Scourge. Makes sense since he's Sonic's evil side personified. Ebony gently rubs his head while saying that his demonic days are over for good. Sure, rub it in. I get it, you're reversing it already. Poor guy. A train comes off his tracks in front of him, and because the train's too heavy, none of Ebony's spells will work. Super is terrified of saving the train because if he uses his power, it might turn him into a violent demon again. I still hate that he tries to talk formally occasionally with, "I don't dare use my power," when he's supposed to be Sonic. It's so stilted. He jumps to catch the train and save it, and this causes him to say that because he can use his power without becoming evil, he can do anything. And we see stars sparkling around him. Why would using his power for heroism, not the slightest bit of destruction, cause him to become power-mad, destructively evil again? He says, "Oh, fine, really. Again, just rub it in, won't you?" Ebony says they should get out of here because the civilians are all staring at him. Super says that he's tired of hiding who he is and being on the run. He's not on the run. He's been living a stationary life with Ebony. Out of complete nowhere, Super says that his life has been a complete misery, and now he's gonna do whatever he wants, smirking all the while. This is so stupid. I would understand if he destroyed a robot because that'd be destruction. But he saved a bunch of people's lives with his power. Why would that make him turn evil? He's supposed to be the personification of how much Sonic loves destroying robots. Why would doing something non-destructive turn him evil? The story ends with Kintabor detecting Supersonic's energy and Super laughing maniacally, proving Pajama right about being wary of him in the long run. And the rest of the story is just a reprint. The first two stories are by Lou Stringer. In the first one, Earth starts to invade Mobius to make money off it, as the Colonel says, and Sonic is trapped in Fleetway America by tank debris sending him into the still open portal, showing him an overcrowded, polluted city, and he's shocked as if he's never seen anything like it before. The second story has Amy and Techno save all of time by keeping 1930 from going back into the time stream, which isn't guarded by police or the military for some reason to prevent this. Why was Amy able to talk him out of this if he was so dead set on it that it created a giant fire monster, which was never properly explained? Like, Amy's activating her convinced villain to not be bad power again, and it's totally arbitrary. This every year is a sentient being concept is interesting. It's like a total exaggeration of the Fates, which was much simpler because it was just 3 people. But why does history need people to guide us every year as they see fit? Who are they to decide? Are they gods? Well, still, they would cause bad things to happen to people as well as good things. Shouldn't things happen anyways, regardless of what they do? The story ends with Amy and Techno being warped away from the confusingness. And whenever one of them first goes to guide a year, they're a baby. So how could a baby guide a year, even if he is able to talk intelligently? How would they have enough life experience to guide years in a way that makes sense? And the final story was by Nigel Kitching. It was just depressing, because it's the most arbitrary excuse to get Supersonic to become evil again. So he uses his powers to save a train from destruction, and that makes him destructive? That's the total opposite. He jumps in the air and catches something with super strength to prevent destruction. And he somehow turns back into a destruction-loving demon? Why? Why would having powers make him evil just from using them? I guess he's the personification of Sonic's inner power hunger in general, not just destructiveness. But I don't like that, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Grimer turning him evil again with brainwashing would have made way more sense than this. The poor guy, he had such a fine life, until saving some people's lives magically made him sick of it. All of this is Ebony's fault for pressuring him to save the people in the first place, because she should have known that it would turn him evil like he kept warning her about. and that Supersonic would logically just kill them all immediately anyways. At least that's what would happen if the comic wasn't so censored for the kiddies. Logically, someone as destructive as him would just destroy everyone around him, including Ebony. He probably won't.